education, economy, and infrastructure around. So it is a very big topic, but in simple terms, what we discuss in a model for a state, okay, uh, it defines that policy that satisfy the needs of the people of the state uh, while preserving the natural resources and the environment. So that is the whole thing about that is the idea behind the sustainability ideal sustainability as an ideal model for a state. Education, economy, and infrastructure around. So it is a very big topic, but in simple terms, what we discuss in a model for a state, okay, it defines that policy that satisfy the needs of the people of the state uh, while preserving the natural resources and the environment. So that is the whole thing about that is the idea behind the sustainability ideal sustainability as an ideal model for a state. So yeah, that is what I think, and that is what I. So actually,
So,
there's nothing written anywhere, so
mhm.
I'm just going right that. Like, all these are my thoughts, and somewhere it is written here, and somewhere
But it's
like
not written properly as a document or collectively somewhere, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so being a political science student, so how do you feel that how much potential does India have to be a sustainable state in the coming future?
India, like what I think is India is has a lot more potential than other countries because uh, from a longer time that India, if you consider like other countries like America and China, so America has a lot less population than India, and India has a lot more people, but we consume less uh, non-biodegradable non-biodegradable products and when we compare with China or America. So because we have a traditional backgrounds, we have a conventional methods that like preserve us from doing these things. And that is why there are habits in us, in daily lives, like we in the small towns or cities, we still go while we have to purchase something, we still go with our like bags or
Yeah.
chulas, what we call. Okay,
Mhm.
so there are certain habits that we possess, and that is the main thing that will help us to do that to achieve the sustainability in terms of the state. Okay, in terms of uh, making a sustainable state, and the main thing is we have a more lot more creative people. Like we have a lot more young people and creative people who are like eager to work in these sections, and uh, we have educated young youth, okay, young people. So these these are the main qualities that a country or a state should possess to become a sustainable to become a sustainable nation or a state. And as we all know, uh, as we all know about SDGs, okay,
Yeah.
so the sustainable development goals help us to achieve that goal, okay, that goal of the development, their ideal situation for development of the state. And what I think is that the youth of India needs a platform to work on. Like we
Mhm.
we are all working on our separate platforms on an individual level, but uh, the government is not like they are coming with different schemes, these schemes and programs to provide incubation centers for the youth and all, but it is not working properly because of the party politics and uh, in the nation. Okay, the party politics that some party needs to have some of their personal interests, and some party just have their own personal interests, and there are clashes between them. I will give you an example for that. Like in Delhi, okay, in
Mhm.
Delhi, what is the situation? Uh, we all know about the smog situation in Delhi, okay, and that happens around the November and October. So what happens when there's a I know, I think you all know about that, the Kriya Lab. Okay, so Kriya Labs, they came up with an innovation, okay, in the IIT Delhi Incubator Center. So it is a solution for the stubble burning that is happening in Rajasthan and Punjab region
Yeah.
after the farming sector.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is that they created a solution. They made a solution, and it can be implemented. But what now they can, the government can like provide them provide them incubators. They can provide them funding. They can provide them customers. But uh, at the end, the politics starts getting into it. Okay, so the what is Delhi government say, that we can't do anything. The Rajasthan government is doing everything. The Punjab government is responsible for everything, and the Punjab government says the Delhi government is responsible for everything.
It's
So
just kind of like a blame game type.
yeah. So when those people when are going to the Delhi government, they are telling that go to the Punjab government. They will make you you can implement that. We will not be able to provide the fund. So yeah, it's like that. So same in the different regions. Like in if I tell you in Chhattisgarh, okay, where I have from where I from where I belong. So it is a place where like a lot of organizations are coming together and they are trying to work in the field of social sector and education sector. But uh, there comes the politics. Okay, how they influences that? Uh, they will start funding them, with a good gesture. Okay, they will start funding them and giving them opportunities, giving them platforms, and at the end of the day make they start making certain demands to like stop making them to solve certain problems, to addressing certain problems in the youth parliament and etc. So this is how politics works. Maybe it is Congress, maybe it is a BJP and other so many other parties we have in line.
XYZ
So
parties.
yeah, that is what I think. That we should provide a certain platform, a strong platform to like to innovate. Okay, to just just those students, those innovators to come in certain platform, make new things that will serve as a as as a basic module for this sustainability, for a sustainable state. So that is what I think, that party politics should be kept aside for a second. To
Yeah, because when you participate in any competition, one of the main point where you are judged is how sustainable is your solution is. So when you go
yeah,
forward and work on that, and the solution is sustainable enough and it can grab a market, that time that organization backs off saying the what you have said, like we can't give you this, that, and all. This is that government thing and that government thing. So this is, I feel, it's kind of an irony type that you are asking us to do sustainable, and when we are coming, you are like, no, this we can't do. So that's where everything goes haywire, I guess, because you are there, and then after preparing something, and you are like, okay, now what should I do? Type.
like I'll not say that government is doing nothing in terms of this. Okay, they
Mm-hmm.
are providing, trying to like they are trying to just provide certain platforms,
Yes.
uh, and they're trying to be a good person or a good they're portraying themselves as a good people. Okay, and but what I felt is that there are certain things that they have provided, like incubators and IID centers, incubators and problem is it is not going to the villages and townships of the people. So it can provide training, and it can provide skills and skill improvements and training to the village level people and the townships. So for example, there's a IID. Okay, IIDs are like Indian Institute of Development.
Yeah.
So there's a there's a huge now there's a huge going about like talking about uh, public-private partnerships. Okay,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
what is government doing? They are like they're doing public-private partnerships, and they're doing partnerships with the private companies. So they are getting money from them, and they are investing some of that their money, and basically not money. There's certain sanctions and permissions they will provide, and the private sector is providing investing the money. So that is how public private partnerships working in the government sector. And they will charge you a less amount of money, but there's a deal going on with the government. So that is how it works. But they are only limited to the cities, not it is not going to this lower x x or y category cities. Okay, so that is the problem, basic problem here. And if you, I will tell you about that case. Recently, our government started a deal with Israel. Okay, where they were talking about to provide skill development and all these things, to provide them about innovative farming methods. How Israel is doing is a really creative thing, and they are good in agriculture farming. So they started these things. They started institutions. They started training centers, but they are only located in the big well developed states like Punjab, Andhra Pradesh, and only there are one or two centers in the whole state. So how a farmer can go that far, okay, in the city and learn that thing and come back and implement it there in his field? So that is the problem. Like Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh are they produce the most uh, they produce the most rice and wheat are basically rice are produced by Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. But there's no uh, training center or institution by the government uh, in the when they are where they had a deal with Israel. There's no center like that in Chhattisgarh. Why? The question is why. So I don't understand why are you not going to the uh, like villages and towns to educate people and provide them certain skills. So because there's a different government, I won't say
Yeah.
that. Okay, there's a well, central government has the center there's a different government, in state there's a different government. So they are all politics involved. So I sometimes I get tense, but that is what an individual can do. Okay, just keep asking questions and giving
Yes.
suggestions
Yes.
to the government. Whatever may be the case, they will listen it or not. But we should provide them suggestions that what you should do and what you can't do. Like it's that.
Okay, so you say that you want to be in sustainable agriculturist. So tell us more about it.
Yeah, actually, sustainable agriculture is just nothing. It's basically uh, using using your own resources, like what you have in your hand, like what environment and nature is giving you, and making out your meal with these resources. Okay. Uh, I had a like I used to be a simple kind of simple boy. I was born in Delhi. Basically, if I told about myself, I was born in Delhi, but I had these like typical form of education. But when I went to Chhattisgarh after, because some complications in our family, but we went to Chhattisgarh when I was in third standard, and I started watching and seeing these things that is like exploitation of the people and of the resources by the government. Like Chhattisgarh is popular basically for the Bastar sector because of the Naxalites and the coal mines. Okay, two things like Korba and these sectors, coal mines are there, and the Bastar and Naxalite things. So there's a lot of like Jindal, big names involved there. So Jindal, Bindal, and Southeastern Coalfield Limited, and they will like look like they are clean and all. To they will make they will, when they have NTPCs and certain plants are there, power plants are there, so they will look good by planting some trees and investing money and giving money to NGOs here and there. But what they are doing is they are buying land and exploiting land and agricultural land. uh, they buy that from farmers, and they provide them like silly jobs to these farmers. And uh, they accept that some money, and they are getting the job in the, it is a government undertaking sectors. These are the government undertaking sectors. So they think there's a government job, their future is secured. But at the end, when the time comes, when they apply for the job, and some of them are not able to apply for the job because uh, these sectors know that they are ineligible to work in these sectors in their company, because they are uneducated. Some of them are not able to complete the basic higher secondary education, so they know they will not able to make it. They are not going to
Yeah.
make it. So and if some of them make to the complete their higher education or 12th standard uh, graduation, so they are not getting the higher posts, okay, because you are not qualified for that. And the all the higher posts are, if you look at the population of Jharkhand, where Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, and Chhattisgarh, where a lot of these industrialists are there, and these uh, uh, mines are there, okay, where they are extracting resources. So they are damaging both both the things, like the human population living there and the resources. So there's no like balance there, okay. And so how they are doing it, like if someone manages to uh, like clear their board exams and they pass the 12th and they apply for the job, so what they are getting low paid jobs and not the high paid jobs. Because so what is the situation there? The local people are nowhere. Like there's no representation of the local people in these states, in these states. And all the people who have come from different states are have their, like, they are sitting on a certain position above the local people in these cities and states. So that is the huge problem. Oh, I just shifted to some other thing. We are talking about sustainable agriculture. So I saw all of these things, and later when people were thinking of uh, uh, like teachers used to ask that, now what do you want to become? Like some said doctor, engineer, and all that. So I wanted to become a veterinary doctor at that time because I love animals. So,
Okay.
but later I discovered it is not possible for me because I am not good in science. Okay.
Okay.
So, so what? Look, like, and later I discovered that if you, if you just later I discovered about how the education works. Okay, that we'll discuss later. And basically, so eh, when I discovered that, when I understood that there should uh, education does not mean you have a certain degree or a qualification. Okay, you should have that knowledge and that skill to implement things and to make your living out of that. So yeah, that is how it worked. And I saw and one other thing. Uh, so I want to make a farmhouse from
Mhm.
always of my farm where I can cultivate my own uh, things, and I can just uh, have a lot of pets, okay, and these animals, stray dogs and stray cats, stray cows, and all that. So after some time, it became an idea because I got to know that it works. Okay, you can generate income from that. It is not a hobby. Okay,
Yeah.
and if you are doing good, you can generate income from that, and it is good for environment. It is good for the people. It is good for the state.
Okay.
So that is how I ended up like after my 12th, I started researching more on agriculture activities, different methods of farming, and other things. So that is how it worked for me. And now uh, I have planned to, after my graduation, I will go back to Chhattisgarh. We have some land, okay, 4-5 acres of land there, and we are just making that land ready to start what we have planned for.
Planning to.
So the land is in the works. So, but because of the this Corona thing, it all got stopped. So yeah, after some time, that when this ends, we'll start working on that soon, and hope after 5 or 6 years you will see a beautiful farm and you can come and stay there.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I will surely visit there.
yeah. So that
Okay.
is was my idea.
Okay, so all the best for that, and just looking
Yeah.
forward for whatever you will do. So I will like to ask, like, when we talk about sustainability and everything, uh, most of the people are still very confused and they're in dilemma that what actually it is. So
Hmm.
how important it is now, you think, that to educate the youth about sustainability, and if they want to live a sustainable life, how they can do it?
Actually, what I believe is that the youth of our nation is like the new era. Okay, we are the Gen Z. Okay, so most of the people are grown in cities. Like most of the youth are grown in cities and who have their modern thoughts and ideas. So they think about, like when we talk about sustainability, they think about so many expenses. Okay,
Yeah.
we have to live. We have to live a certain lifestyle for being and to live like a sustainable living. So but there's that cannot be the thing. Okay, in what is the example I have been seeing is that it can be performed with very less, like very less expenses. You don't have
Expenses.
to yeah, you don't have to expend more for living a sustainable life. uh, just that. And they should understand. And why they are not able to understand that, because we have provided them a certain environment of education where they are covered with they are surrounded with a, like what for example, what if you ask a kid, okay, just ask a kid or school going child, like what is a building? Okay, so what is a building? So he will give a definition that a building should made up of a concrete. It should have a perfect roof made up of a concrete, and a building should have doors of like iron doors and all. It should be how a living room should be like should be. So he will say it should be uh, perfectly air ventilated and all. So if and at the same time, if you see them, if you make them see a hut, okay, a hut, so it it has all the characteristics of the concrete house, okay, but it looks old and old fashioned and like backward. It shows a certain kind of backwardness to them. So they will see, what is this? A person, this is a hut. This is not a house. It cannot be a house. It is a hut. Okay. So we need to make them believe, like we should make them believe that uh, there's a there's a there's a kind of certain lifestyle uh, that is sustainable, and that is that should be, that is the future. Okay, and I'm not telling that go backwards. Okay, go backwards, and we should all go by our traditional forms, what we used to, what we had. We are humans, we keep evolving. Okay, and with evolve, as we are evolved now, we need to innovate, okay, on those traditional methods. So that is the basic thing. And what I was thinking like that, why I think like that, because I have seen certain organizations or people who are working who have the capabilities, who have the knowledge, who came from cities and big universities, and when they work on the field, when they started working on the field, they know that that knowledge is not enough, okay, to make a sustainable thing in that place, because you have to involve those laborers, those laborers living in those villages who have lived that lifestyle before, and now they have shifted to new kind of lifestyle, okay. So they involve these laborers and they work with them, like these architecture students and the local laborers. They work with them. They know, the local laborers know where they will find lime, where they find neem leaves, where they find like natural resistant uh, like uh, plants which have natural resistance towards insects or pests. So so that is how you combine the knowledge of the village sector and the village people, and who know the local things, and the people, the youth coming from the cities with the knowledge. So innovation plus the traditional work we have, the knowledge we have, it that is how we create a sustainable form of a living. Okay. So, and you can say that we are still not there, but I believe that in some time, in some period, because I've been watching a lot. There's a new trend. Okay, now there's a new trend of living sustainably. So now I see hope in the current generation. So I hope they'll accept that, while we are providing. The government is uh, like conscious about these things, and they are trying to provide including curriculum, the uh, environmental education curriculum to the schools, and there are now courses on the university levels as well about environment and sustainable development policies. So we have a little hope, and by contributing all these uh, applications, we can make a like current generation we can make current generation aware about these things, and start start make them believe start making them to believe that it is possible to live sustainably, and it is not expensive. Like, it is not much expensive in cities, it may be, but if you think like that, you will come out of the different things. If you think well, you will come out with the innovative thing. Why I say that it is difficult to live in cities, like in big cities, sustainably, because uh, we have a lifestyle. We have a certain kind of lifestyle. If, for example, if I live in a village, if I live in a village or a town, I can go in the morning. I can go in the morning on a morning walk, and I can, if I want to brush my teeth first. Okay, what does a person do? So if you want to brush my teeth, so what they do in villages, that they don't brush with a plastic toothbrush or
Yes,
all
yes.
these things.
Mm.
They just use neem stems,
Name
neem,
stems, yeah.
neem stems,
Mm.
and they do what we call as datun
Atun, yeah.
in India.
Yeah,
So
in Hindi.
it's like that. They use that, and here goes the sustainable lifestyle, and they come with it, and what if they found fruits, like the seasonal fruits are there, so they will go to the certain park and certain like outskirts of the city, or they will be roaming around. Like in the rainy season, there is a lot of like jamun. Okay, so here they will get the jamun. They don't have to buy it. Okay. Recently, I went to my hometown, and I purchased some of fruits, and including jamun and some mango. My friend came, and he said, uh, like, where did you get these things? Matlab, where did you get these? I told him that I bought them, and he made fun of me. Arey, you should have told me.
Yes, yes, yes. That has happened with me
I'll come
too.
with
That
a
has
yeah,
happened with me.
yeah. I'll come with a whole bag of these things. I
Yeah.
thought, okay. So So here, what we will do, we'll go to a market, we'll buy these things. He will give us that product in a that shoots in a polythene or a poly bag, and that is how it gets difficult. Okay, and in cities, we have like what we are the things we are dependent on are, are, are like dependent on are only available on stores on like
Yeah.
they are selling in the markets. It cannot be made uh, by a by someone on their own. A person cannot make these things in their home. So it's difficult for a person to live like sustainably in cities, but you have to innovate certain things, like, and you can reduce your carbon footprint at the end in the cities, but it is very easy to live like that in villages and townships, in the small towns. That is why I promote uh, going after you have done your uh, whatever studying and all that, and you have earned enough money, you should go back to your town and start living into village, because cities are getting filled. And what if I stayed here? Okay, the new students who are coming in Delhi won't be able to find a place, so I should go back and start living in my village. So that is how we should encourage uh, students and students children's and the young generation about sustainable living. So that those are my like some of my thoughts on.
That's something that was amazing. Actually, I was listening very carefully, and you almost answered my two questions. Like I was going to ask you, how can we live sustainably using our traditional way, and how can we educate the people more about sustainability? You covered it so
Like,
beautifully,
I,
like
I
in one
actually
go.
I make shifts. I don't go with the proper like like points, or I don't make it like that. Or if because if I do now, if this is a topic we can
Yeah.
go, we can go for hours.
Mhm.
We can talk in these topics for hours, but it will never end. Each of the topic, the policies, the education system. Education system has like what we are seeing now, EIA, like a lot like that. Education system, the new policy, the draft we saw. Like these are the small things that are changing, but the intentions, like I cannot like I have read enough, I have seen enough, like enough of the governments that like Rajiv Gandhi government came up like with a lot of uh, policies in 1986 with EIA and the education policy came at the same time in Rajiv Gandhi government. But now it is changing. They are changing that because I don't know what is the intention. But yeah, it is good. But uh, I doubt the intentions of the government because uh, it is difficult to trust nowadays the government. That is why.
I think one we will get to know the pros and cons once it gets
Yeah,
implemented.
it's
Otherwise,
implemented.
just
Let's
we
wait
will just
how when
yeah,
it's implemented. Yeah,
yeah.
because we all know about the environment minister. I don't want to make like political comments, but there was a joke like going around. But it was not a doctored video. It was an original video about how Prakash Javadekar, or the environmental minister of a country, uh, while giving an interview, he described how we can solve the climate change problem. So it was laughable, but yeah, it is like that. Like they both are handling the EIA, the current education system, like the current education policy that was passed in the cabinet. So they both were the heads, like Minister Ramesh Singh Pokhriyal Nishant, and the Prakash Javadekar. So I, well, I know that the policies are made by the policymakers. The policies are made by the IS officers, the organizations. Uh, they put their suggestions into the ministry. But uh, what is going to implement from those policies are in the hands of the ministers.
Yeah.
What matlab, matlab, how much of it is going to implement in the grounds. So it is in their hands. And you doubt that what their history is. So every politician's history is they are going to implement that. I don't want to go in detail, but yeah, there's a big history. Like
Okay, so just taking us back to the villages and explaining how beautifully we can live sustainably there, and again bringing us back to the city. That was a very good job. So I will end the session with my last question. What are the areas where you think startups can come up when you talk about sustainable living or sustainable development?
actually, like if I have what I gained in these years, what the knowledge I gained in these years. Uh, Actually, people don't know most of the startup. Okay, were in the startup zone. They don't know there's a field where you can just go with sustainable startups, and there's a huge cheer up for that. And by the government, and there are people accepting that, and the sustainable homes. Okay, recently I'll tell you a story. Okay, so it gets more interesting. So when you just not put or not pick up. So there's a like when I went back recently to my hometown. I was in Bilaspur. So uh, uh, I was there, and at the end, I was there for 3 months, and I didn't knew. I was looking for the people who are doing, uh, who are going for the startups, who are coming up with ideas, who are doing something good in this sector. So I looked for the people for at least 3 months. I was stuck. I accept that I was stuck, but I was looking for the people who are like doing good in these things, but I didn't find any. So at the end of the at the end of the times when I was coming back, and only few days were left. Okay. So I met my friend, one of my close friends, and he was wearing a mask. He's a Punjabi, and he was wearing a cloth mask. Okay, and cotton cloth mask. So I thought like where did you get it from? And he said my mom made it, and I remember that her mom had a boutique. Okay, I remember that, and I asked him that. Is she making these masks in like in bulk, or did she make them for you only? And he said that she's making only few of it, and they they are sending in to only some of the places, and when they are getting orders from WhatsApp and some personal contacts. And then I went to meet her mother, and then I heard her story that what happened actually happened, that when the lockdown occurred, when the lockdown was implemented, so a lot their orders were like so like there was no orders for them for them. So there was so many left cloths, okay, piece of cloths in a boutique. It is a home boutique. Okay, she runs at home, and she has employed only 3 or 4 people. uh, so she said, we are not getting orders, so how are we going to what I'm going to give them? I, I I can't make them sit. Okay, I I should give some work to them. And she she was not thinking about going sustainable, and she does not have the idea of uh, a market that exists in this section. So later when she started making, first she first she made it for their own like children, 2 3 for the kids. And later she discovered like people were demanding those things. I want that. Okay, I want
Okay.
that cloth piece of cloth. So she started making it, and when she started making it, she started getting orders from different places from India and abroad. So that is, yeah. So that is how it worked. And she was telling, now she was, when I was talking to her, she was getting order from all over India, from Bangalore, Delhi, Odisha, okay, and different parts of the country, and from abroad as well. And when she discovered, she started making it in bulks, and that is how she became an entrepreneur. Okay, from a boutique, from running a boutique, and she didn't knew about all these things. And when she started running on that, so when you have to do a marketing, you have to associate certain things to your product. And when she learned about that, when we are talking about that, so she learned that she can associate it with us, like this product with sustainable living and sustainable clothing and sustainable industry. And she is basically she comes under basically MSMEs, okay, the under that. So she can get an exemption for that also. So it is like most of the entrepreneurs, they are already have the certain already running businesses. They don't know their business comes under the sustainable business category. So first we have to like provide them education, information, who are already doing these businesses, and who want to start some businesses. uh, in these conclaves, in the business conclaves and all that, we should conduct sustainable business conclaves and startup conclaves, where people should come up with ideas of sustainable industry. Because in what I think is, the change happened. The basic thing I want to address at last, that India changed a lot because of industrialization. Industrialization was for good, but it changed India. Like there's a structure. Like uh, in Hindi, if I tell you in Hindi, there's a like stage. There's a thing like there's a village, gaon, or then there's basti, then there's sheher. Okay, the villages are where the people live and they do their daily lifestyle things. The bastis are where the bazaars set up for the villages. Okay, and like villages, townships, and cities. Okay, so so when they have when there are certain things that are not available in townships, okay, the bastis, people go to cities. Yeah. So uh, n- now what has happened, that most of the things are only concentrated and available in cities. We don't have them in villages and towns. uh, as the policy students, we talk about models like Kerala model. I have been to Kerala, and I'm in love with their model. So there's a huge population in Kerala, but they are concentrated, uh, like they have equally concentrated in each location. Like they are well designed state. It is a well designed state. Every village and every town has its own resources, and they are able to satisfy their own needs in the townships. So it is difficult. Like Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, people are coming to cities for working in factories and all. They don't have their jobs. So Atmanirbhar. So here comes when you talk about Atmanirbhar. So Atmanirbhar doesn't mean that we have to become Atmanirbhar. Okay, we have to become self-sustainable. So self-reliant. So, but the cities, villages, and the townships whole as a whole, they have to become Atmanirbhar, self-reliant. So, and that is why people think we have to, like, this is our job. No, this is not only our job. It is government jobs too, because because government hold the power in cities and townships and villages. We individual can do whatever we can. Okay, we are already trying to make out our living. Okay, we are not like living on your money, on the government's money. We are already trying to make out our living. That is what is that is what we call Atmanirbharness. Okay, there's nothing. It already exists, but it should exist in the government too. So that is how it has happened. We should go to like city, village, and township levels of self-sustainability and self-reliance. So the industrialism has changed everything. where we have to use, like in villages, when farmer grows something, he used to make byproducts of that and sell in their own villages. Now what farmer does, he only he only produces raw products,
Hmm.
and the industries and factories process them
Process. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sells it is sold in cities. And maybe in sometimes there's a case, like, if a farmer is growing mangoes, okay, he's if he's growing mangoes, and he's selling those mangoes to the
Hmm.
industry or factory where they make it pickles,
Hmm.
where they make pickles from them,
Big guns. Yeah.
and they sell it in cities. Okay, they sell it in cities, and it goes to all the packaging happens in cities,
Yeah.
and the pickle, the wrapped pickle, okay, the bottle of pickle, then came back to the village, and the farmer purchased it. So how this thing, like, will change? I don't know, but it should change. The self
Yeah.
reliance and Atmanirbhar means this. Okay, we should,
Hmm.
the farmers and people should uh, try to make their own, like, resources, and try to make their own day-to-day living, uh, the things that are needed in daily life. So that is how it works, and that is how my idea is. Yeah,
Well, that was, I'm now feeling that 1 hour was too short to have a
yeah,
conversation
it
with you.
was too short. even
We
even
can
I
just
was.
go on and
Yeah,
on. There's so much to talk, but yeah, we are time
maybe
constrained
we
and
can talk some another day, and yeah,
yeah, sure, sure. So, okay, due to time constraint, audience, we have to stop. And this
yeah,
was Pranjal Sumer with us on talking about sustainability and taking us back to villages and bringing us back to cities, sustainable living, everything. And a very good luck to you for your aspiration of becoming a sustainable agriculturist. We hope to
and
visit
I want
your
to say some.
soon.
I want to say something. Thank you, Mitti Ke Rang, for giving a platform to speak on this topic. Okay, because there are so many ideas I have and I wanted to talk about. But yeah, this is a good platform.
I hope you talk about few of them, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So
okay, okay. So all the
maybe,
best. Yeah.
yeah. Thank you.
Say, you can end.
What I was saying that maybe we should talk about some another day these things, and maybe the next time we should talk about the specific thing,
Okay,
because it is like a
I
connection.
will
Yeah.
plan to do a podcast with Pranjal Sumer part 2 on how to
Okay.
have a
Okay.
sustainable state. Till then, okay, stay tuned to the page of Mitti Ke Rang for other podcasts. And thank you,
Yeah.
Pranjal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.